So the project, this is something that's needed to be done since the house was built. You've got your pull down attic steps, right? Let's keep in mind, this is from the 40s. This house was built in the 40s. So there's a lot of wear and neglect here, but it's always had the issue of once it went up, it never sealed properly. A piece of wood's been missing for decades back there. Okay, this is what they sealed it with back in the day. That felt right there. Storm door, everything had that felt on it. Well, you could put foam or whatever, but you still have a gap right here where nothing really, it doesn't want to seal properly. And the rope is there for me to pull those steps up. I have the project almost completed, but sealing this is just, it's you just rack your brain. And finally, I went online and found a website of people that were tired of dealing with issues like this. I'm not the only one that's got these old steps. And right up there at that hinge area, where is it? Up right up there, that hinge area where that board's missing. From upstairs, that is a 25-inch wide by 1/4 inch gap where the air is going through, not to mention all up here. So the only thing you can really do is seal that entire area. And that's what the project is. Now let me cut over to show what they have at Home Depot, overpriced mess. So this is one of their kits, okay? That is basically a Igloo ice cooler lid and some 2x4s, and you better hope that fits your opening. If not, you're going to be doing some cutting. Then let's go over here. You've got this overstuffed Mylar box here. Oh, 2.5 stars, 120 bucks. How long do you think that zippered area is going to last right there? Right? So what else do they have? There's more of that Igloo cool. Here's one, looks like a mattress cover. 100 bucks, right? So it's just limited. You're just limited in your options. Here's one. That's not bad. That's a pretty decent idea. You've got to keep in mind when you fold your steps up, got to have room for that. But that door is going to get in the way. So here's the project. The rope is to pull the steps up because you can work on your ceiling project here, sealing the attic steps. Everything looks copacetic. And when you shut the steps, you've got a whole nother ball of wax because the steps, when they come up and fold onto themselves, can get in the way of what your project is for sealing them. So there's the M-Seal, right? That stuff is awesome. It really is. It's the nicest foam I've ever worked with. So that's all the way around, okay? All the way around your attic opening. All right. I had to go all over for these things. Found little hardware stores. These things were $7 a pop. Cheapest online I found was Walmart.com. I think you get either 4 or 6 of them for like $6. But I needed them now. So these are going to go, well, you've got 2 in the front and 2, 1 on each side, 1 back there, 1 on the opposite side. All right. So I built a box that's going on top of the foam and it's sealed all the way around. These clamps just lock it in place and you have the ability, if needed, to stand on the box. I have seen the boxes made out of styrofoam, foam board, sheetrock, plaster, paneling, but you got to figure by the time you lift the box, throw it over here to the side somewhere, it's going to wind up getting damaged if it's lightweight. So mine is a little heavier than styrofoam. So I'm up here working Is that old school? This guy here crawling up. Well, he's not crawling anymore. So that's why I want this sealed. They get in from somewhere. No carpenter bees, just bugs. So that's it. Let's go out to look at the box. Yeah, a little messy there. I don't know what kind of silicone that is. Some kind of latex mess. Okay. Wow. So this is what I wound up making. It's going to outlast the house. 99-cent plates there. I started with the mindset, this was $6 for an 8-foot 1x6x8. So I used the treated wood, and then I was going to use furring strips in the corner and just fill it in with paneling. And I said, that's kind of flimsy, lightweight. It would have worked, but I wanted more support. So I just built it. I had to add, you go back to the other video, when you pull the steps up, the steps came up here too far somewhere. So I built this so that the steps are going to be somewhere around here, I think. Little room to wiggle around. And it is gooped together with liquid nails, screwed the plates, and used Harbor Freight clamps. I got 48, 36. Ran out of clamps, so I had to get the 24-inch ones. $10. $10. These things work great, and I had to borrow some old Craftsman squished together clamps. But then on Harbor Freight, people were complaining these things twist. Work great for me. $10. Nothing wrong with that. So there's that. So that's my box. I found and scored a piece of wood to cover the top with, so I'm done. I was going to use this stuff right here. Canyon U. It was $20, 4x8. I said, hold on. It's this stuff here, paneling. I was going to use that for the top and the sides, but paneling, you know, like I said, you start kicking that box around or you put something on top of it that's heavy, it's going to break, and you sure don't want foam board or anything like that. So this is going to outlast the house. It's heavy. We'll see how it is once it's in place. Okay, there's that. There's my box. So that's it. Oh, check this out. I used the Cobalt saw. Picked it up from the thrift store. It was brand new, $79. It still had paint on the blade. So I think a wife cleaned out her husband's workshop. He might have passed. Got the old liquid nails, so $79 for the Cobalt saw. Score. Okay, this is the finished box. It's in place. I was going to paint it, but I'm glad I didn't, because when I come up, I lift it from the attic steps and then just kind of tip it over and slide it on the wooden floor here. They didn't know about plywood back then. They didn't have plywood. You look at those, look at the boards. They didn't know anything about plywood back there in the 40s. So that's in place, and I'm standing, if I can get up here, I'm standing on the steps, right? Try doing that with your Home Depot Mylar zippered things. I don't know what you would do up here. Maybe lock the AC heating guy up here or something. But there it is. That's on the, looking at it from the attic floor, I'm good there. Might get a couple of handles to ease putting it back in place. I'll show you the underside. Okay, there it is. We're installed, sitting nicely on the foam. I had to notch out, which I knew I would, right there on those clasps. So I'll come back and tighten it up, make it look a lot better. But look, they didn't know about carriage bolts or anything back then. Square, what do they call those, stove bolts? So the springs are weak as a mug. I had to tighten them up, move that one all the way back, moved that one to where you currently see it. And then on the hinge part, I moved it to there. From there, you talk about a mug. Now it wants to jump out of that little yoke right there. So that's another issue. So whatever. So all in all, we're good to go. Mr. Hornet and Mr. Bees, no carpenter bees, Mr. Hornet can stay up there. There we go, and we have one more. It really doesn't need the latch. The box weighs 44.2 pounds. You can see those springs tear you up. Okay, there you go. Nobody's coming in through the attic either. That's another bonus. If somebody were to break in, get on your roof, punch out one of the windows, they're not coming through here very easily. Not like that old Mylar mess or your igloo cooler. So I've got a lot of touch up to do. I might add a plate right here to come up to catch that spring to keep it in the guide. Other than that, I'm good. 44.2 pounds. What you got, Home Depot? Not this.